This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube, coming at you with a review of the Liver Kings Netflix documentary. Yes, here in Kansas, we're on Central Time. I chose to watch the Liver King documentary tonight instead of Raw, because I wasn't that familiar with the guy, and you guys can tell me what you think of him in the comments. And I have tried liver, by the way. I'm gonna look it up now where I tried it, but I tried I tried liver just around the time I first heard about the Liver King. But I'll be honest, I never really watched any of the Liver King's videos before. As let's watch this video of me sampling raw liver as I critique this. The main things I learned from this is for a while he was claiming to be natural and that all of this had to do with eating raw meat, not wearing shoes, living off the land, and he got this steroid like body. Apparently, at one point in time, he was accused of child abuse for forcing his kids to allegedly liver and make them go in cold water, like he has a cold plunge in his house. But apparently, although according to this documentary, there's still visitations, at least at the time of this documentary, he was never actually charged with anything. And I have to say that liver, that raw liver wasn't bad, but it had a bad after feeling in the gut. But I didn't eat it enough to really be able to tell you guys one way or another if it would make me look as jacked as the Liver King. I guess it eventually came out because he got so popular that he was taking upwards of 11,000 worth of growth hormone a month. And he claimed at one point in this documentary that he used to do below during spring break. And then later in the documentary, he went on to say that he actually had kind of a lab. From what I understood of it, he had a lab for drugs in his younger days. So it's one thing lying about steroids, it's another thing admitting that in your past you actually contributed to the problem of hard drugs ruining people and their families. Do I like his principles of healthy living that he's trying to teach, which he's not including the bad stuff? I mean, let's face the facts here. It came out that a lot of people in Major League Baseball, when I was growing up, ended up being on stuff, even though at the time they were claiming it was all androstenedione. It ended up being a lot worse than that in that whole Jose Canseco book that came out, and then the serious steroids they were on. As far as I know, I don't even know if they test for steroids in hockey or not. All I know is I used to have an NHL player friend that told me he was taking them and there was no testing. In wrestling, you're allowed TRT, and I believe you may be allowed growth hormone. From what I heard, they don't test for it. So I'm not throwing shade at this guy for taking stuff to get the steroid look and the principles he's not trying to teach people to take that to get big. He's trying to tell them that if they eat raw food and raw testicles and live off the land, they're going to look like that. Obviously, there's no way of knowing what he's going to look like when he's not on stuff because he wasn't honest at that. There's even a clip here of Logan Paul, who had interviewed him in the past, like throwing shade on him for lying to him about taking stuff. And I don't know if he was mad at him about lying to him to his face or about taking stuff, because as I said, most top athletes have at least experimented with it from my research, and I'm sure a lot of people out there will concur with that know what we're talking about here. But as I said, overall, the scene that sticks out to me, first of all, he's rich from his supplement company and his videos, and it seems like he had a fairly fast rise due to what seems like he may have had a production company working with him to get him popular and develop this persona that was clearly a hit persona. He's strong. He's impressive. They do kill a bull at one point. He wakes up and he's like, "Kids, get up! I feel like eating a bull." And they go and I don't know if they kill it by shooting it or stabbing it, but he finishes it off by stabbing it. And I do agree with him that after they stab it, they're kind of praying for it. They're giving it love. Him and his whole family, and then they start eating it right away while it's fresh, which I believe that is more for the camera. But if you look at, people can say that's cruel and whatever they want, the way that slaughterhouse animals are treated, and I eat those animals. So I mean, I'm a sinner for eating those type of animals that are treated inhumanely, and they're certainly not getting hugged and petted as they die. So I do. The cameraman's kind of laughing at him doing that. I'm thinking at it from a bull's perspective. I've ridden bulls. I know bulls. I'm sure the bulls would rather, as they're bleeding out, be rubbed and hugged. At least it's somewhat of a nice way, and they're praying for it. They're thanking the animal as it's passing away. I did not find that funny where they're kind of making that up to be hokey. I thought that was a nice way to put the animal to rest. To be honest with you, I thought that showed some compassion. Um, Overall, the documentary, I would say, was entertaining, a lot more entertaining than some of the other documentaries I've seen on Netflix. I did like the Duran Duran Netflix documentary. I won't do a full review on that, but Duran Duran was one of my favorite bands that I've ever done security for. But overall, this documentary was interesting, although highly disappointing. The level of where he's saying that he used to make hard drugs. That really makes me lose all respect for him. It's one thing to say that you take steroids and you have this look, but you're still trying to do a good message. But to go from at the start saying, "Oh, you tried stuff on spring break," to further in the documentary, well, I used to have make this hard drugs in my house. I mean, that's where I don't. Those type of people we don't need on this earth.